Thank you for listening to the Pearls and Swine podcast. I seek to bring hope and healing to those suffering under toxic leadership in the home or in the workplace. Welcome to Toxic Followership, Lessons from Moses and the Sons of Korah. I apologize that new blog posts are few and far between coming from my keyboard as late. I have been immersed in a writing project. No sooner had my new book been sent to a variety of editors and this new project came along. It has been extremely time-consuming and very, very satisfying. I have been writing a chapter in a textbook on bad leadership along with an international cast of researchers. It's been difficult because the editor is quite particular, but that has been very, very good for me as a writer. I am very happy with the results, and that book, the Oxford Handbook on Bad Leadership, will be coming out this fall. In business and social science research, there's a term that is used for numbers 16, 1 through 35. It's toxic followership. Whereas a leader is good and just and effective, the follower is abusive. I can't say that I've written on this before. After all, my blog is said to be all about toxic leadership, not bad followers. But this is important too. Several years ago, I read a book written by a pastor about this very topic. It was called The Wounded Minister. I wasn't that interested, but it was a very good book. My own experience was with toxic leadership. After the nation of Israel had departed from Egypt, the great Exodus, Moses was leading them through the wilderness. 250 of the chiefs rose up to oppose Moses and Aaron's leadership of Israel. They said to Moses, "You have gone too far, for all in the congregation are holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Why then do you exalt yourselves above the assembly of the Lord?" That's Numbers 16:3. This is a very interesting statement. The Bible does not pull punches when it comes to leaders and followers in its pages. We do not see hero worship, other than to God himself, in the Bible. We consistently see honest histories of people who are broken by sin. It is not selective history in that way. Moses was not a perfect leader. We know Moses had failings and sin. We know he murdered an Egyptian and ran away to be free from the consequences in Exodus 2. The Lord even kept him from the fruit of the 40 years of leading his people through the wilderness, not allowing him to enter the promised land with the people because of his sin. You find that in Deuteronomy 32. We believe in the priesthood of all believers. These chiefs stated this biblical truth. They noted that God's people are holy. They are set apart, is what that means, for God's purposes, just as any leader is. Peter says in 1 Peter 2:9, "But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his own possession, that you may proclaim the excellencies of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light." However, these followers, the sons of Korah, did not consider the full teaching of Scripture. Followers are to respect their leaders if those leaders do not disqualify themselves from positions of authority. There have been numerous cases where leaders in the church, though not perfect in character or in leadership skill, have been rejected by followers who instead wish to be the leader. The motive behind the rebellion is not that the leader is disqualified from leadership, but rather the follower arrogantly assumes he or she can do it better. As Paul notes in his epistle to the young pastor Timothy, desiring to lead is a noble thing. However, when it is based on arrogance and self-service, it is not so much. Moses responded to the rebellion of the sons of Korah. He said he went to the Lord in his anger, number one. Second of all, we do not know the tone of his voice when he spoke to them, but he relied on the Lord to judge between him and those who were leading the rebellion against him. And thirdly, he reasoned with them, reminding them that they had been chosen for very important tasks as servants in the tabernacle. But then an interesting thing happened. When they had all been gathered together for the Lord to judge, Moses is surprised by the judgment that God makes. It says in Numbers 16:20, "The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, 'Separate yourselves from this assembly, so I can put an end to them at once.'" Moses, as a servant, was not in favor of God destroying the lot of them. It says in the next verse, "But Moses and Aaron fell face down and cried out, 'O God, the God who gives breath to all living things, will you be angry with the entire assembly when only one man sins?' The Lord judged these men and declared that their rebellion against Moses was rebellion against the Lord." This is an important passage and must be considered in regards to followership very carefully. Many leaders use such passages as get-out-of-jail-free cards when followers reject their toxic leadership. They consider their leadership absolute, where Scripture does not allow such a view. However, if followers reject the authority of someone who leads them, it must be because of truly disqualifying acts by the leader. Certainly, it is appropriate to leave behind a leader with whom you disagree, but how we handle those disagreements and leaving needs to be in care. It must be apparent in my pages and pages of writing that I believe toxic leadership needs to be stopped, and part of that process is the rejection of it by followers. However, it needs to be said that toxic followership is also destructive, and God calls it out. Thanks for listening today. My name is Kelly Dainert, and I write and produce these podcasts. The music you just heard is called Finally, a song I wrote, and it was performed by Mingoli, an African ensemble from Malawi. Please rate my podcast if you found it helpful. It will help get the word out to others. Have a great day.